Welcome back to the Dallas Duo podcast. Today's episode is all about skin, aging, and what actually works. Because let's be honest, there is so much noise out there when it comes to skincare.
From trendy products to expensive treatments, it can feel overwhelming to know what's worth your time, your money, and your energy, especially once we reach our 30s and beyond.
So today we're sitting down with someone who truly knows the science behind it all. Alyssa Spiegel is a certified physician assistant at Mindful Dermatology in Dallas. She has been practicing dermatology since 2010 and brings a thoughtful, personalized approach to skin health.
She also has experience in dermatologic and Mohs surgery. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And a passion for everything from acne to skincare, screening to comprehensive skincare consults.
Today, we're breaking down what actually matters when it comes to your skin, from skincare routines to Botox longevity to the habits that might be aging you without you even realizing it.
Alyssa, we're so excited to have you. Welcome to the Dallas Duo.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All
So
right.
fun.
So let's jump into what are the symptoms and complaints that you hear the most from your clientele?
So 30 is a pivotal change or time in our skin. Actually, really, I'm going to shock you guys. At 25,
No.
we start, I know, I'm like 30, but really. So at 25 is really where we start to lose collagen. So collagen and elastin are kind of the scaffolding for our skin, the structure. So up until 25, we have this robust collagen. And then at about 25, we start to lose 1% of our collagen annually. I'm kind of picking up through our 30s and 40s. So when you start losing collagen, that's when we start seeing those fine lines and all the things that I think is probably the number one complaint. Also in our 30s, our skin cells start to slow down. They don't turn over as quickly. So we need some exfoliation to help that. When our skin cells aren't turning over as quickly, our skin can appear duller. Hydration, our skin starts to lack hydration in the 30s. So adding outside hydration is really important. And then this is really gets bad. All of our indiscretions from our youth start to come out. So all that sun damage that we thought we were escaping starts to come out in our 30s. And that's going to look like brown spots and poor texture. So sorry to break it to you, but there's a lot that happens in the 30s.
Like sunning my naked body with baby oil out in my yard as a teenager.
Oh my gosh, that's the biggest thing. I feel like for when in your teen and 20s, I feel like the sunscreen, I'm like harping on my daughter all the time about that.
I mean, I see teenagers all the time and they come in. Now, not as bad as it used to be because thank God for spray tans, but so many of these girls are still getting just totally toasted in the sun. And I'm looking at them like, trust me, please. I still can't get through to them, but those pivotal years are 15 to 25 of that sun exposure. It's going to start creeping up in our 30s.
I mean, I grew up in Seattle and tanning beds were my happy place in the winter.
Yeah,
Like, you
I
would
mean,
just go
there
for an
is,
endorphin
right?
boost.
Yeah, I mean, seasonal affective disorder is real, and sunlight can be helpful for that. Hopefully, not tanning
I
beds
mean, I'm
anymore.
hopeful for red lights now,
Yes,
red lights
yes.
and happy lights.
Yes,
Save
we
my
love
skin.
red light.
Yeah.
Yes,
Safely.
yeah, safely.
What do you feel like some of the biggest misconceptions are that women have about hair as they age? I think one you've pointed out is that it happens earlier than you're expected and your childhood kind of plays a part in what happens later in life.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of noise now on social media. Exfoliation, which I mentioned, we are lacking exfoliation. And so we do need exfoliation because our skin isn't doing that anymore. But now everybody's wanting to like exfoliate every day. Do we need to do that? So daily exfoliation, misconception, we don't need to do that. We can kind of chat about what that looks like. We only need SPF on sunny days. Again, I will kind of weave this through this conversation, but SPF is one of the most important things you can do for anti-aging. And it's not just on sunny days. We're getting ambient light through the windows. I have so many people that are like, I don't wear sunscreen. I don't go outside. Well, you left your house. You're driving places. I mean, we are getting UV radiation. So it's super important and productive. I think this is a really interesting one. You posed really interesting questions. And Whitney, I know you're super into nutrition. That's your field. A myth is that like drinking more water directly hydrates your skin and eliminates wrinkles. I hear that a ton. Like I drink a lot of water, but I'm still dry. No, that is not a correlation. Do we need hydration? I drink a ton of water every day, but that is not directly correlated to our hydration. We can talk about what that looks like for skin too. And then lastly, again, if you're on Instagram, like these 17 and 18 step routines, we do not need all of those. So we can talk about that too.
I'm very excited about that because I I'm more of a minimalist when it comes to products. And so if I hear that I need 10 steps every day for 10 different ones for morning, 10 different ones at night, I'm checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also out. No one has time for that. As being moms, we don't have time for 18 steps.
I also am always told I have dehydrated skin, so I appreciate that because I'm always, like, offended as a
Yeah.
dietitian. I'm like,
Yeah. You're
if
like, I know what to
anyone
do.
like, I
Yeah.
am drowning in hydration, so if
Yeah.
anyone has dry skin.
Yes. It is not directly correlated. So don't keep drinking your water, but there are other ways to hydrate your skin.
So on that note, what are some top non-negotiable skincare products for women over 35? Like if
I know this is your favorite. Like, you're kinda like the product person. Like, I love
I'm
hearing about products, and I
yes.
think that's what is beneficial. I don't know about you, but, like, I hate when you go to the doctor and they're like, "Well, just buy a blah," and it's, like, not specific, and they haven't
Mhm.
tested it, and you're like, "It doesn't work like that." Like,
Yeah.
there are
No, I
products that
think
are more
there
superior
are
than others.
Yeah, and I am
definitely
spending like $50 or $70 on a product and then I'm like, I actually hate this or
Yeah.
like this isn't what I thought it was going
Or
to
it
do.
smells weird.
Yeah.
That's, like, a big one
yeah.
lately. I'm like, "What is
Yeah,
that
smells
smell?"
weird, texture. I will say for the first half of my career, I was that person, that dermatology provider that was like, CeraVe's great, which again, no knock on CeraVe, but you don't need anything more. Like go grab a little CeraVe or Cetaphil, a little moisturizer, cleanser, and sunscreen, and you're good. And the second half of my career, which is where I found my passion, I literally spend days with companies talking about skincare products. I'm sent a ton of stuff. So I think I'm unique even in Dallas that I vetted so many products. I'm a dermatology provider that also has this separate space of trying tons of products, which is a really unique perspective. So we could literally just talk about products all day long, but I will simplify this for you.
Wait,
Non-negotiable.
was that
Yeah.
pivot because of your own journey? Were you like, "I
Yeah.
actually
I
can't
was,
do that
yes.
anymore because that's actually not working for me"? Because I feel like that's most
Yeah.
people, right? They're like, "Well, I gave general advice, but the general advice is not working for me."
Exactly. And it was kind of like, I'm standing at CVS, like trying to find, the skin scare, CeraVe or whatever. It's not working for me. So, yeah. And honestly, it actually probably started when I really started noticing aging. I think I really started in 2018 after my last baby. And I was like, hold on, I'm in the business. I have a unique opportunity to figure this out. There is more than just Cetaphil and CeraVe out there. And again, if you come see me, I recommend it a ton to my acne patients. I mean, it is a great place. But once we're in this aging space, and it was actually sort of around the same time Instagram, social media, skincare influencers were really starting to become popular, obviously took off in COVID. So yeah, around that time, I was aging, I was done with my kids, I was ready to do more things. And here we are in this space exploring it. So non-negotiables, and I want to keep it simple because when I started out trying to figure this stuff out, I was just overwhelmed as anything else. I'm sure, Whitney, you get this where you're like, people come to you and like, just tell me what to eat. Or I go to my hairdresser and I'm like, just tell me what products to use. Everyone's like, Alyssa, just tell me what to do. I want you to write it out for me. And I'm like, it is nuanced. Everyone's a little bit different, but I can tell you number one, and we've already said this, find a sunscreen that you will put on your face every day. It is so highly impactful, and people really forget that that's important. Everyone's like, it's in my makeup, it's in my moisturizer. It's not enough. We need a true actual sunscreen, and I can give some products that I like. We can talk about one that's my favorite, but I think sunscreen is non-negotiable. A retinoid. So back to our exfoliation piece. When we start losing our skin cells' ability to turn over, we are lacking exfoliation. Exfoliation is what's causing that kind of regeneration of our tissue, stimulating our collagen, softening those fine lines. So retinoids are the mainstay of therapy. We have preached this for 40 plus years and it still remains. It is the highest, most efficacious product on the market. Data is super impressive with it. There's prescription. So a bunch of you guys out there now, tretinoins all over TikTok. And then lastly, a moisturizer. Like we all need hydration. Whitney, you might need more hydration than Andrea, but everyone needs a moisturizer. So I would say those are my top three. And then if you want to get more detailed, we can talk about antioxidants. I think those are really important, peptides. But for the simple person, those are the three that I would invest in and start with a simple routine. So we can talk about other things outside of this, a sunscreen, a retinoid, and a moisturizer like vitamin C's, antioxidants, peptides. But for the simple person just starting out that really wants an easy routine, I would start with sunscreen, a retinoid, and a moisturizer. Also, I should say one caveat. A retinoid is off limits if you are trying to get pregnant or pregnant. So those are the only times in your life where you don't want to use it.
Or
And
breastfeeding,
again,
right?
so It's interesting. And again, I always turn back to everyone's personal preference with their medical provider. The amount with a topical retinoid, the amount of absorption that actually is going to go from your skin into your breast milk to cause baby any harm is nothing. But I always tell people, talk with your pediatrician who you find comfort with, and you guys make that as a shared medical decision making. But there are plenty of people, lots of medical doctors that say that during breastfeeding, it's okay to use a retinoid. Again, you consult your medical people for that.
Okay. That's amazing. That's really helpful. I have a question. So we had a makeup artist on, Adriana, who we love, and I did a consult recently with her, and I was like, "Oh, I have SPF in my foundation," just like you're saying, and she was like, "It barely lasts you." Like she's like, "This might last you like an hour and a half or 2 hours max, and then it degrades." And so she actually recommends using a foundation that doesn't have SPF and wants you to layer SPF underneath, which is what I've been doing. But do you have, because we live in Dallas, I think specifically, do you have a favorite for SPF reapply?
Yeah, great question. So I want to just capitalize on one quick point of yours. The reason we don't love SPF in a foundation specifically is the amount of SPF you need is way too much product. So you would have to do like 5 or 6 pumps of what, we're doing 1 to 2 and lightly brushing it over, which is all those influencers. You need a 1/4 of a teaspoon, and I challenge everyone, go home and squeeze out your foundation, 1/4 to a 1/2 a teaspoon. It is way more than what you would ever think. So you're not getting enough of that sun protection factor in your foundation. So great on your makeup artist part. She's exactly right. It's not that effective. Reapplication. So there's a bunch of powder formulations, which you will see brush-on blocks. They're not technically FDA approved. I still think it's a really nice means, especially if you have a full face of makeup on. Like, it's really hard to go back and put sunscreen on. There are foundation compacts that are tinted that I like. There's now some sprays. So I think that when you're wearing makeup, it's a much more difficult place for reapplication than if you're at the beach or like you have your visor on and reapplying your sunscreen stick. But I will do, and it depends where. If I'm out at a kid's baseball game, I'm probably putting on real sunscreen. If I'm running to a patio with friends after work and I'm going to be under an umbrella, I might hit it with just the topical foundation or SPF brush.
Okay.
And is that a powder? Because I have seen the powders. Okay.
Like I have
Yes.
one called Row, and I got it because it's like it was formulated for kids, but it's translucent. And I'm like, my son's at the age where like me putting liquid on him is like not a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, maybe this could help in the meantime. But it got me thinking, like, I mean, our population that listens to this is like, busy entrepreneurial women who are doing like multiple things throughout the day, and they're also moms. So I'm like, well, how are we helping them solve that problem of I want to wear SPF and I want to protect my skin, but I'm not gonna reapply SPF over my
Like full face of makeup. Yeah. Yeah,
Is there-
powdered. I'm supportive of powder.
Is there a brand you recommend? I used to use the Susan Posnick one back like years ago. I don't even know if they make that anymore, but I loved that one. Is there another one you would
We
recommend?
actually used to sell that Susan Posnick one at my
Really?
office, and I don't know if she's making it anymore. Color Science is a great brand. It's that turquoise brand. They have one.
Integrity?
Supergoop has one now.
I think
can type in-
Suntegrity might be liquid. I don't think it's
I don't know Suntegrity. Color Science, and they have a couple different colors too. That's an easy, accessible one.
Okay.
that is great. Okay, when we talk about what moves the needle versus what is sheer marketing, I know I've talked about this a lot with my patients. Like, tell me, especially on initial consults, like, tell me the 5 viral trends you're seeing right now that you have questions about. And I'm sure you have this in your office too. What are the trends when you open your social media that you're like, I wish that died yesterday?
It's so funny. I follow so many social media people that are like heavily science-based that I feel like I've cut out a lot of the noise. So I get it more from like my teenage patients or my young people that are following specific skincare or
Because curating your feed is so important.
yes, it's so important. And I'm like, oh, I get so much knowledge from all these dermatologists and cosmetic chemists and all these, skincare formulators that I'm not hearing as much. But I do follow, and this is no knock on any fashion influencer, but I do follow a ton of fashion influencers, especially in Dallas. We're like the mecca for, mommy fashion influencers. And they all come on with the same like few products that clearly have been directly marketed to them. There's so many of these like needleless serums now, the K-Beauty $20 Amazon thing. I get more people DMing me like, this girl has gorgeous skin and she said she's only using this $20 K-Beauty needleless serum. I'm like, the girl, she is getting paid, guys. So I think my advice is curate your feed and take your advice. So, like Whitney, I'm taking my nutrition advice from you, not the wellness influencer that has no credentials, right? I think people take skincare advice from somebody like me who is not, marketing specific things. There's so many great derms now. The fashion influencers, let's keep following them for their fashion tips or what restaurant they want to eat at. But those are the people that I think are creating so much noise in the space. And now that I'm on the other side, especially with my Instagram, the amount of like brands and marketing that are reaching out, and I say no to so many. Like this is just disingenuous. Like, but there's a lot of people accepting things and promoting things. So just curate your feed to people that make sense, and you'll drown out a lot of the noise. But a lot of these skincare products that are like replacing Botox, or it's one ingredient that's all you need, is not real.
Like I think of like face
Yeah.
tallow, right? Was like one like
Yes.
face
Yes.
tallow being used in place of Botox. I'm like, that's probably never going to happen.
Oh my
That's
God,
so funny
if
that you said
were
that.
the case, that would
I-
actually be insane.
I mean, I put tallow on my belly when I was
Yeah.
pregnant because it was the only thing I could keep from, keeping it dry. And it was super, moisturized. And
it's
that's fine.
moisturizing. It's that. No, I literally had a patient this morning. I was doing her Botox, and she's like, I'm actually really embarrassed to ask you this, but I was targeted on an Instagram and I almost bought this, and I texted my girlfriend to make sure. And my girlfriend said to ask you, and it was a girl that had a beef tallow and some other maybe SPF, and it totally eliminated all of her wrinkles. And she was like, I think it was AI, but I just need you to tell me that. I said, it was not real.
Yeah,
Not
you're
real.
like, it was
So,
definitely AI or not real.
be a good consumer. Be a good consumer.
The
Perfect.
other one, and this transcends both like nutrition and skincare, is collagen gummies. So I went to a conference last year, and a collagen company invited a bunch of dietitians and healthcare providers, and they're like, hey, we just want you to know that we're never going to create a gummy, because the amount of functional product that would ever be in a gummy would mean that you were eating like a supersized gummy bear. They're like, for us to even get enough product to make research claims on, you would have to eat like 14 gummies for it to happen. And so collagen, I think, like there's research on collagen for skin that's really powerful, but not collagen gummies making research change.
That's actually such great perspective, and I hope your audience hears this. The collagen data was somewhat limited for a really long time. Like, it made great sense that we should eat collagen, but we never knew how much it impacted the skin. And in the medical
only, I think, for a long time.
Yeah. So in the medical space, we're like, until we have good like randomized control trials or retrospective data, we're not going to just say, go buy this collagen. There was finally a huge retrospective trial. It was published in the Journal of Plastic Surgery in the fall, that actually finally supports, in our world, recommending collagen. But obviously, it's typically in a powder formulation or a big capsule, and you have to have the right amount of it. So gummies are great for certain things, I guess. I mean, I would turn to you on, there's creatine gummy, all these things. I don't know how much is actually in all that stuff, but collagen, add it to your coffee, add it to your water. I actually never did collagen until this published data came out, and I'm finally on board just because we have supportive information now for it.
Question. As far as collagen goes, because we did an episode on that, which was like one of actually our most popular episodes.
Yeah.
But we touched a little bit on Verisol collagen. Do you think that makes a bigger impact as far as for skin?
Ooh, I actually don't know. I don't know. I would have to dig in the data for that.
So you would have to look and see. So Verisol is a type of collagen, since there's like multi-collagen strains.
Yes.
Verisol is a company patented a collagen strain, named it Verisol, and they've done their own independent studies on it, which obviously is like quicker and different and biased and not necessarily industry standard. But they're targeting skin,
and they're targeting perimenopausal and that age demographic more. That's actually how I heard about it, was through one of the perimenopause doctors that I follow, and she was one that was talking about that specific kind. So I just wondered if
I don't know.
I'll have it'll come into your office tomorrow.
No, thank you for providing me with that information. I know all about it. Yes, you have taught me something I don't know, but I will definitely look into it. It sounds like it needs more information related to skin.
Yeah.
But again, I'm here for all of the info.
Well, when it comes to routines, what would you say are the biggest priorities for morning routine versus nighttime routine? And if there's any crossover?
Yeah, I always tell women, especially, like, So many females will beat themselves up if they don't do a certain routine in the morning and a certain routine at night and don't get everything in that they should. Give yourself grace, meet yourself where you're at. So, like, if you're a morning person, stack your morning routine. If you're a night person, stack your night routine. Now, there are a couple of specific ingredients I think that are more important certain times of the day. If you're somebody that's an equal opportunity evening and night, obviously you can create an amazing routine. But I think the morning I would prioritize cleansing. It doesn't need to be a full like face wash. I love these little hydrating pads just to kind of get off the nighttime skincare routine.
So not a
I
double
do.
cleanse requirement? I'm just asking
I
because I
don't.
feel like that was a
Yes.
hot thing for a while, and I was like,
Yeah. So I will double cleanse. This girl loves makeup. I will double cleanse at nighttime. Somebody asked me about this today. What is the deal with an oil cleanser? Oil cleansers are great emulsifiers, so they get off all of the makeup and the sunscreen. So use those at night, and then I always just follow it with a water-based cleanser to kind of get all the oil off to prepare my skin. You do not need to double cleanse in the morning. You don't have so much junk on your face throughout the day. So I do. There's a couple different companies I love. Peach and Lily have these really hydrating ads. They go out of stock all the time, so I hate to recommend them. And then First Aid Beauty just launched them. They're really just hydrating kind of water pads that will take off the night for me because I do run a little bit dry. I don't need a full face wash. And then we haven't touched on this, but antioxidants, serums, kind of the most famous antioxidant ingredient is vitamin C. It's been around forever. SkinCeuticals created CE Ferulic. It's the highest vitamin C SKU ever sold. The technology was patented in 2004, so we've evolved a long way, but I'm only referencing that because people know it. What antioxidants do, specifically vitamin C and now some other ingredients, they create a shield of protection. So augments the idea of a sunscreen, but UV radiation is one issue, and we can get into this in a little bit, but free radicals, which is all the junk floating in the air, the exhaust pipes, the chemicals, the blue lights, all of that is trying to get to our skin cells and break it down. So sunscreen protects against UV radiation and potentially blue light, depending on which ones. Vitamin C serums or antioxidants create another shield of armor to prevent all the free radicals from breaking down your skin. So I think if you have an elevated skincare routine, we're washing our face, we're doing a vitamin C. If you run dry, you're doing a moisturizer, and then you're doing your sunscreen. Super simple, easy, straightforward morning routine. We talked 3 steps. At nighttime, retinoids need to be used at night. So that's the most important thing. Outside of that, anything else goes, but retinoids are broken down by sunlight. There's a few now that are protected for that, but the majority of them, retinoids are broken down by sunlight. So those should be used at nighttime, and you can kind of weave that into your routine depending on what other products you're using.
and vitamin C you wouldn't use at night because of that, like,
You
sun
don't
shield approach.
Exactly. I mean, some people like it. Like, it does have some brightening properties. So some people like how they feel and they will use them again at night. I'm very much in like preserving money too. So if we're going to save, like, just use your vitamin C in the morning because I can recommend some really expensive products. And so, like, let's not use vitamin C at night to save on that. Your bottle will last longer.
So after you do your retinoid, so I tend to run dry with my skin, especially as I've gotten older. What would you recommend for like a nourishing night cream that can go over a retinoid?
So everyone will figure out how to use their retinoid differently. That may not look like using a retinoid every night. A lot of people kind of have to work into them. Some people will use a lower potency and kind of train their skin to use a stronger retinoid. There are different ways of applying them. So there's the sandwich method. You can actually apply your moisturizer first, then your retinoid, then your moisturizer. Some people will dilute them where they put a little pea size of their tret or their retinoid and mix it with a moisturizer. I don't love that method as much because I feel like you don't evenly it's like you're not a real chemist in your hand, right? So getting an even distribution is a little bit tougher. But I do like the sandwich method as a way to kind of ease into tolerability of a retinoid. In terms of moisturizers, there's so many great brands now. I've sold a ton of Skin Better through the years. They have a moisturizer called Trio, which is incredible. It's really expensive. I have found very similar, don't hate me, Skin Better. There's another product I love from them, but I found very similar products. I love Sephora products. In Beauty Project has one called Extreme Cream, which I personally use. It is a beautiful hydrating product. There's a product called by a skincare formulator Dew. DIEUX, and Instant Angel. So in Beauty Project, Extreme Cream is at Sephora. Dew Instant Angel, another really beautiful hydrating product, both like $50 to $48 to $60 price range. So Sephora has great products.
Okay, Can we move on to Botox? 'Cause I feel like everybody has these questions. How to decide if they're the right choice for you and if there are alternatives that exist.
Okay, so I approach every Botox patient, which I think I probably did like 20 people this morning. It was just a Botox day. I approach, which
Just
is
a
amazing.
few.
Like, right. Yeah, it was a great day. We just did a lot of Botox. I
It's
love Cosmetic
spring.
Fridays.
Everybody
It is
wants,
spring.
yeah.
Everyone's like
Yes,
coming out
everyone's seeing
and
the
they're like,
summer
"Oh."
too. They're like, oh my gosh, it's summer. I'm going on all these trips. Everyone has a different time when they love their Botox. But so understanding what Botox does, I think is really important. Botox puts the muscles to rest for a temporary amount of time. When you paralyze the muscles, the skin over top does not move. So it will soften current lines and then prevent new lines from forming. I will tell you, and people hate me, I have so many young girls now that come in that want to start preventative Botox. And I will not, I say no more than I say yes. I will not do Botox on anyone that does not have some fine lines at rest. I do think we do need some lines before we start injecting. I can get everyone smooth. I actually tell the story. I had my last child at 36 and I never did Botox before just because I was having kids and it was just that season of life and I waited and I have some pictures, but I had, decent forehead lines that I have now fully corrected with Botox and good skincare and, of course, lasers. So I am living proof at almost 43 that we do not need to start Botox in our 20s if we do not have lines at rest. So that is my first piece. So making the right choice for everybody. If you have lines at rest and you have a good skincare routine and your retinoids are really titrated up and they still bug you, Botox is a great option. It's temporary. It lasts on average 3 to 4 months. So you have to decide if it's a personal choice. It is a toxin. It is a neurotoxin. We are paralyzing the muscle. You need to understand what you're doing. It has been around for 40 years. It's actually was studied in much, much higher doses for neuromuscular disorders. So we're using like an eighth of what they're ever injecting for these giant muscle groups. So toxicity is very rare. It clearly has never happened to me. But it is the most highly satisfying procedure out of every procedure I've done because it really does. It's almost instant. Like within a week, your lines are smooth and your skin is glowy and you're happy.
Yeah, no, I can attest to that. I waited also till my mid 30s to start getting it. And I was very anti, up until the point that I was like, wait, I'm starting to see this. I don't love it. Like there was just something about like around 34, 35. And it is. I mean, I think it's like it's such a noticeable difference and just the most amount of impact for, a small treatment that is very quick and painless.
Relatively, but some people this morning, one of
Relatively.
my girls was sliding out of her chair. I was like, next time we're doing numbing before we do your. She's like, I'm fine. I'm like, no, you're sliding out of the chair. But most people, it's like a tiny needle. It's very, very easy. But that is if your provider doesn't offer topical numbing, ask them for it because again, and I have very few people that ask for it, but I want people to be comfortable. Like if I'm putting 9 to 20 sticks in your face, you can get numbed before. It just has to be on for like 15 to 20 minutes before we do it, but it does make the experience a little more enjoyable.
So I have a question. So like I said, I've had it since I'm about 35, is when I started, and I'm 46 now. And I am one of those people that over time, and I would only get it like maybe twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. But one of those people that I started to notice that, it wasn't lasting as long or it was wearing off quicker. So I've also tried like Dysport and Xeomin. And so tried a few different ones. So I'm wondering a couple different things. What makes someone a fast metabolizer, or is it what makes that vary? And the second thing is I've heard that zinc supplementation can help. So is there any truth to that? So I guess that's really two questions, but I'm sure you can speak to both.
Absolutely. Um, It's the fast metabolizer story is really interesting. Having injected now for 16 years, I still, and this is thousands of patients now, don't have any rhyme or reason to this day who is going to metabolize it faster and who is not. Again, today's a perfect day because I had so many people, but I have a marathon runner, true marathon runner. Her training is 9 to 12 miles a day. She just got off a run before she saw me. We do her twice a year, like relatively minimal units, and she does not burn through it. I do not understand. And then I have
And
people,
she's sweating all the time, and she's
she's
making it's
sweating
all the
and
things. It's all the things they tell
she's
you not to do, right?
Yeah.
all the things. And then of course, the next person walks in and she's like, "Alyssa, I started hot yoga and my Botox, I am burning through it." And so I think there's truth to both sides. Scientifically, again, I can't pick the person who's going to do it. Now, think about it. Like if you're moving your muscle, so it is a neuromuscular blockade. We're actually blocking the acetylcholine receptor, but it's not blocking the entire time fully. So anybody that's gotten Botox, you know, it is perfection for a certain amount of time and then it starts to wear off. That's when that blockade is less strong. And then you start to kind of fully wear off. And then most people want to catch it before it's fully gone. But if you're really moving your forehead and maybe trying to fight it, I think those are people that notice it more. I think the people that do it potentially less frequently, your body kind of fights back. And then a big thing, which we started realizing that Botox, and I use Botox, the term loosely, I should use neuromodulator because I inject them all. Some people during COVID really started to notice their Botox not lasting as long, and we're not really sure what that looks like, if that was like formulation of the product during that time were people not buying as much, so maybe the product was sitting longer. Is there something to do with our immune system, with not necessarily even the vaccine, but actually the infection? So there's been a lot of conversation about longevity of Botox over the last 6 years. I think that zinc is an interesting thing. Botox is zinc dependent, which is really interesting. So it needs kind of zinc. The idea behind it is it needs zinc to survive, live. Most people aren't zinc deficient. So the idea was there was actually, and again, I dug in the studies just because I wanted to give actual information, not just anecdotal. There's one pretty decent study a couple years ago about it that did prove that people got about 30% longer life with their Botox than
That's a long time.
placebo. Now, the study's actually been called into question. It may not have actually been the best study. We need people to replicate this. Like, I want proof that recommending zinc, because anybody that's taken zinc, it has other things, like it can cause GI upset and other things. So you need to make sure if we're taking zinc, it's for the right reason. I do, again, anecdotally have some people that are trying it to see. We're still in the early phases of this. The data is zinc with phytase. So it's not zinc gluconate. So it's a very specific zinc that they studied. So I think really we just need more data on it, but we are looking for ways to prolong our Botox. The last piece of this is I have so many people that come in that are like, okay, I want to look natural. I don't want anybody to know that I have Botox. I still want my eyebrows to move and I want it to last 6 months. I'm like, okay, we can't do all that. So we need to like reasonably meet everyone's expectations, but the lighter amounts for the more natural look, the baby Botox, are not going to last as long. So that's a really important conversation to have with your provider about understanding how much you're getting and how much you want it to last and the frequency, because there really is something to be said for the amount you're getting helping with duration of the product.
Okay. And on that note, would you recommend, because I've always liked to, and I don't know if this is correct, but I've always liked to get it and then wait until it's like almost, almost all movement is back and then wait until that point to get more. Is that better, or should you get it sooner if you're on a normal sort of schedule?
Think it's really, really personal. I have some people that don't really ever want to move. And so I will not do people before 3 months, because there's actually very supportive data that the more, like if you do it before 3 months, there's a risk of developing antibodies. So
Yes,
everyone's
I've
got
heard
to,
that too.
we do not want that. Less than like 1% of the population actually develops an antibody resistance. So it's very, very rare. Xeomin was the answer for that. But again, it's a very small population. So I have some people that literally are on a quarterly schedule. They don't want lines. They come in every quarter and we do it. I have some other people that just wait. They kind of wait and look in the mirror and they're like, okay, I'm starting to move again. There's not really a rhyme or reason. I don't think it hurts either way. I think you have to figure out what works for you, obviously your pocketbook and everything. But I think that it's very personal, but I would not do it before 3 months. And then some people will do it like once a year and then they get frustrated. I'm like, I think there is a happy middle ground.
So if we talk about, I actually just had this question with a gal I saw. I was doing microneedling, which I loved. I feel like that was a great, I wouldn't say like Botox alternative, right? But something else that promotes collagen and elastin formation within your skin that isn't
Yes.
neuromodulator, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, I know. I guess you did ask about alternatives. Collagen stimulation, that's where it's going to help with our fine lines too. One of my favorite procedures is microneedling. I think everyone can benefit from it. I think from an expense perspective, it's relatively affordable in the land of cosmetic procedures. The treatment is called collagen induction therapy. I mean, that's how it was studied. So microneedling, there's with and without radio frequency, but just plain Jane microneedling, such a beautiful way to stimulate collagen, help with fine lines, help with pore size, texture, tone. So anybody that wants to start in the land of procedures, I heavily promote microneedling for those things. And it might prolong the need for Botox, or you may be somebody that doesn't want Botox, and that's great. And microneedling and retinoids and all that do just as much for you, and you're happy.
You just did it for the first time, right?
Yeah, I had
Yeah, I was like
never.
so surprised. I'm like had done it like 5 times and I'm like the least high maintenance in the world. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, I'm getting it done. I'm like, for the first time this year?
Yeah, I had
Or
never done. I had done, some lasers and of course Botox, and I guess I don't know. I like instant gratification. Like I just want to see it. Like, but
I mean,
I really, even with just one treatment, I'm planning to do like a series of 3 or 4. But I did see a difference in just how my skin felt, after a week. So that was a nice benefit to it.
talk a lot about, and to your point about instant gratification versus kind of like long-term yield, I talk a lot about expectations with skincare and with procedures, because I cannot tell you how many people will come in and say, like, I bought this $258 bottle of serum that you said has changed your life, and I don't see anything. Or I did one microneedling and nothing happened. So I think we have to set expectations in the world of skincare. Either we're preventing, which you girls look great, right? So we're all doing the expensive skincare or certain products. We're microneedling because in 20 years, because we look at our parents' generation that didn't have all this stuff, in 20 years, we aren't going to look like our moms because we've done so much more to prevent. Is that going to look like instantly you look 10 years younger with microneedling? No. There are also procedures that push the needle way more, that are more corrective, but you're going to look at huge downtime. And if you do have corrective stuff like pigmentation, acne scars, fine lines, there are much bigger procedures you can do. But for the daily girl like us, some microneedling, a good retinoid, a good peptide skincare product is going to set us up for success 10 and 20 years down the road, which I think is really important to understand.
Yeah, I think the long game of skincare is something that, isn't talked about as much, because it's those consistent habits, just like with nutrition or anything else that, build upon themselves. And also, I think just being like transparent, like if someone compliments me on my skin and I just had a fresh, you know, application of Botox, I'm going to say, well, thank you.
yeah,
If they
everyone's
ask
always
me,
like,
I
oh,
will.
Andrea's skin is so beautiful. I'm like, yeah, she works really hard for it.
I'm
Like,
like,
I'm like,
Yeah,
she's like,
it's not
go ask
free.
her. She'll tell you what she does, but she's not just
Yeah.
like, oh, I woke up like this. I'm like, let's be honest about like the work and like
yeah. Or it's
effort and
just, yeah. Or
research,
it's just my night cream or whatever. Like it's not just one thing.
That's back to those influencers that have like gorgeous skin and they're like, it's this one product. I'm like, girl, you were doing all the things yesterday. So beautiful skin is not free. I mean, we all have to work for it.
That's really funny. I have a friend whose like sister is in fashion and works with a lot of celebrities. And she's like, the most fun thing that I have to remember that my sister reminds me is that like these celebrities are like paid to look good. And so like when we get like L'Oreal or whatever commercials with those celebrities, like you have to remember that like they're just a model. They are not endorsing the product, they are not the expert who can tell you my skin's going to look like this, that way. So
Yeah, they're not using like L'Oreal
They're-
Revitalift.
yeah,
the
I
one
was like,
cream.
ha ha. Yeah.
Yeah. No, probably doing more. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to like we have on here, like if you were to focus on like a year of treatments, if you were to sit down with somebody like mid 30s who was like, I want to do, the most for my skin this year, we talked about Botox cadence, but how would you space out like facials, lasers? I think that's the part that's most overwhelming for me. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's like, okay, well, get a chemical peel once a quarter and then like sprinkle in a set of microneedling and then maybe do a moxie. And I'm like, when and where and
What?
how
Yeah.
and what season? Because it's sunny and I want to, have downtime. And
And it can really just also depend on budget. I mean, because
yeah,
the price is very wildly. So, but I guess maybe like as far as spacing things out, what would you recommend for a year?
Yeah, I honestly think this is a struggle even on a daily basis when I'm talking to people because there's so many things that contribute to it. to your point about seasonality. So we are coming into the hottest time of year in Texas. And so ideally lasers aren't, and you'll see all over everybody's social, like we're off laser season. So again, kind of creating a 12-month plan makes sense. I always advise people find that can be a derm PA, a dermatologist, an esthetician. Find somebody that can help you with a plan. I always say that we're only as good as the tools we have. So it really depends on where you're going. Obviously, if you're coming to a big dermatology practice like mine, we have lots of medical providers. We have 3 estheticians. We have a nurse injector. We have all the lasers in the world. So we can provide you a giant variety, but not everybody has access to that. So just being mindful of where you're at and the advice you're given. I will shock everyone first. I am not, and this comes from the space I'm in, and I have a lot of friends that are facialists. I think if we're saving money and if you're cost conscious, a facial is not where I would put my money, especially in the advent of like great skincare and at home kind of treatments and red light and all that stuff. I don't know. But if your budget is expansive and you love laying for 60 or 90 minutes, and I'm not diminishing what they do. There's lymphatic massage. There's delivery of really beautiful products. There's red light at the end. I think that's all great. But if I'm prioritizing things that I think are pushing the needle. So I would table that. And then if we're in the land of services, so let's kind of categorize them as collagen induction therapy. So we're talking microneedling, either with or without radio frequency. Radio frequency devices are like Morpheus 8. We have Profound, some of those bigger devices. Microneedling is typically like Skin Pen or some other things. Everyone has a different name too, right? Like everyone has a different laser that has a different name, which is very confusing. But that's kind of collagen induction therapy, low downtime. I think high yield can be done at any time of year. Typically, somebody that's our age group, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Some people will do it quarterly. Andrea, I think you mentioned a series. If we're trying to get corrective results, we do recommend a series like monthly, 4 to 6 weeks apart, and then pivoting to like quarterly thereafter. So again, that needs to be tailored to kind of what you're looking for. Chemical peels, I think, are the most underrated treatment in dermatology. When I started in derm, now 15, 16 years ago, we did tons of peels. Like it was just trichloroacetic acid, peels the top layer of skin. And now we're in this like land of lasers, which lasers are great and they're just way more expensive. But chemical peels actually will shed that top layer of skin. The issue is people don't want to do them because the downtime is there. But if you can find a medical provider that will just do a good chemical peel and you don't mind peeling, I think there's really high yield for that, especially like pigmentation, texture issues. And then lasers, we could have a full podcast just on lasers because it is the land of the abyss. And I actually am like studying to this day on a new company will come out with a different brand and they're all these different wavelengths. So I think BBL and Moxie and Halo, it's a company called, the company is Cyton. I feel like they are kind of the most well-known in this space. Derms have them, plastic surgeons have them. They're not the only laser company. They don't have proprietary like information over the wavelengths. It's just their advertising is really good. So a lot of offices will have not Halo, but Fraxel, so there's different lasers in the same land. So it's very language dependent. But if we're going with those 3, just because that's what everyone knows, BBL is meant for pigmentation and redness, pretty low downtime. So if you're fighting pigmentation, especially after the summertime, it's great. Moxie's a light resurfacing laser. At my office, we don't actually have Moxie. We have Clear and Brilliant, which I love. Again, a very low downtime, light resurfacing, stimulates collagen, texture, tone, pore size. And then I would say the most aggressive land is like a Fraxel, a Halo. You're looking at a week of downtime, but those are going to help push the needle more if you can have that. And think of maybe one generation above, like our parents' generation, that needs to push the needle more. Some of those lasers are great, but people in our age range will do the more aggressive lasers, once a year to kind of clean up what they did all summer. So I know that's a really like global overview, but I think you need to find somebody that you can trust kind of with your skin specific, your needs and your budget. Let's be honest, this stuff gets expensive.
So the more aggressive lasers that you were talking about, are those more targeting like tone, texture?
So aggressive lasers are lasers either are ablative or non-ablative. So ablative lasers like break the skin barrier, get much deeper. Those are going to target that deeper tissue, those real deep fine lines, collagen stimulation at a much more aggressive level than some of the like the Moxies, the Clear and Brilliance. I'm trying to think of another brand, kind of those mid-strength lasers. But for somebody like me, I've done one very aggressive laser in 2021. I did a CO2, which is the strongest just because we had it at the time. I would have to be paid again to do it. I mean, it was so aggressive. My face was weeping, but you do this for science, right? And for your people. But now I'm much more in the land, and that was a long time ago. I'm much more in the land of like lighter lasers more frequently, just because I don't have time for downtime. And I love the collagen stimulation without significant, being sidelined.
I saw one recently that was that CO2 one, and that
Oh,
that it
Claire
looked.
O'Brien, is that who
Oh
it
my
is?
gosh, no, I think it was Emily Jackson that I
Okay.
saw, and
Yeah, I think she did do.
it
Yeah,
looked like, I mean, she looks fantastic now, but to see what
right.
the recovery looked like was, I mean, that was a
It's tough.
commitment.
Yeah,
Well, I did
it's
the
a commitment.
halo, I mean, I was like, oh my gosh,
Oh, you did it.
30, not even
Yeah.
30, and it like overpigmented my skin. Like
Oh.
I had like a bad reaction, I think, to it.
Yeah,
And so
so it's
like I
probably
had a
pretty
really nice
aggressive.
derm, but was just like, hey, it didn't
Yeah,
really do what we wanted it to. And I was like, what the? Like I was annoyed, I guess, not what I
yeah,
expected.
yeah.
And so I've done like we ended up doing like Moxie afterwards and like it really helped. But I think it was just interesting. Like I think at that age, looking back, like I might not have done something so
Yeah.
aggressive. Like I was 29.
Yeah, you probably didn't need a halo at that time, right? But again, it depends on what you've heard and what
Yeah.
people recommend. So I think it's about finding people you trust, which is so hard in this space, but that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So you talked about facials as being kind of, if you're looking at bang for your buck or, the most benefit, that being more of like a relaxing thing versus productive. What do you think about like the hydrofacial, some of those that are a little bit more, there's just more to it versus just a regular facial?
Yeah. So there's obviously facialists in town that just use their hands and products, and then typically in a derm setting, we have machines that operate facials. Hydrofacial is probably the most famous one. I think again they're somewhat controversial. We have a hydrofacial here. There's certain settings that can be heavily exfoliating on a hydrofacial. Again, you want to be the right candidate for a hydrofacial. That's like your acne prone teenager, someone that's super oily. They can actually be tailored to kind of as we've evolved in this, but hydrofacials are a medical grade facial. Now, a facialist in town is going to tell you that like any esthetician can operate a hydrofacial, which is true. And the hand manipulation and lymphatic massage from a facialist obviously is very different. We have a facial, a machine called the Geneo, which is kind of again tailored. You can put different pods in it that hydrate. And when I don't do them very often just because I don't have time, even though I'm in this space, your skin, the products penetrate deeper. Your skin is more glowy. So yes, if you have access to some of these like medical grade facials, or again, if you love your facial girl in town, and I can think of two that their books are booked out forever and people love their results. Again, I'm not diminishing their results. I just think you have to prioritize kind of what works for you. But
Well,
most
and it's
derm
important, I
offices
think
have these.
it is really important to be able to set the standard of like bang for your buck and where to put your
And
priorities,
your
you know?
expectations too.
It's
Like
very similar.
what are your expectations and your
Yeah,
goals?
and, like, if your budget is unlimited, sure, but, like, I've switched my facials for buccal massage because like, I get
Yeah.
so tight through my
Yep.
neck, and it's also relaxing, so I'm like, "This is almost like a facial, but for me, it gives me more benefit, but it's the same cost," so I'm like, "Well, I'm already doing facial stuff at home, so why would I spend that when I could be doing something that I don't yet know how to do?" I mean, I'm working
Yes.
on it to do it myself, but
Yes.
not
I
yet.
want to
Yes.
try one of
Yes.
those. I've heard it just especially
Yeah.
for like that area.
Yeah. It can really relieve tension. Can I tell you guys about how you can get a facial at home really quick? Because again, not everyone has access to a derm office or a facialist
Or, like,
or
the
even
Dallas Mecca of, like, you can book
like
something tomorrow.
literally you like sneeze and you're at another med spa, or like I'm like there's a derm right next door. There's a derm below us. Like we're in the middle of Dallas, but we are in the mecca of, so like and you can literally get online and like get a facial, get a hydrofacial, get Botox like in an hour. So,
My
but
husband had
not
this, like,
everyone has access to
benign
that.
my husband had this, like, benign growth that, like, he, like, hadn't taken care of, And I was like, you know what? You just need to like book with someone and get in. And I literally, I mean, I was like next to our coffee shop. There was a dermatologist that I could online book for the next morning. I'm like, you're going to get that handled and then I'll meet you at coffee. Like it was, I'm like, where do
Yeah.
we live that this is the standard, right?
Yeah. Like
Not a
instant.
barrier.
I have people that are like, Alyssa, I couldn't get in for I need Botox. I couldn't get in. And I'm like, when? Like, I needed it yesterday. I'm like, well, give me a little bit of time. Like, I will work in my Botox, people. But again, we are in the land of instant gratification of every corner.
Can I
But
DoorDash
not
my
everybody.
Botox?
Yeah, literally, I'll come to your doorstep. We literally live like 4 streets over. I'll come over, Whitney. So my at-home get your instant glow is at-home dermaplaning, which again, you are going to see all of these like people on Instagram, medical estheticians that are like, you should not at-home dermaplane, blah, 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 blah. You can at-home dermaplane. I love a medical grade dermaplane. So I have estheticians that do it. They use an actual scalpel blade. I am laying down. She is definitely exfoliating the top layer of skin. That is great. If you have access to that, great. All of us do not have access to that. So there are now at-home dermaplaning devices. I personally just dermaplane at home. It's very easy to do. You can find videos online. I have videos on my Instagram. But an at-home dermaplane paired with a product called carboxy masks or CO2 masks. I don't know if y'all have seen those, but they're these jelly-like masks. You buy them. You can buy them online. We sell them at my office. But you do a dermaplane and then do an hour-long carboxy mask, and you will have glowing skin for an event like you had a facial at your dermatologist or your esthetician's office.
Catch me on my next media segment, like
Yes.
glowing in front of the camera.
I love a dermaplane, but I've never done it at home. So what
People
is there
are
a
scared. It's
specific-
really not that scary.
Okay. Is there a specific product that you like?
I'm using a new brand like Flamingo. I think they're razors, but they just came out with like an actual dermaplane device that kind of looks like a little straight razor. I have like a magnifying mirror, so I kind of sit and you just kind of go like up. I know we're recording verbally here, but kind of go up against your skin and I kind of pull it tight and just you'll see all the little vellus hair come off. You're not going to cut yourself. Be careful around your hairline and your eyebrows. Your upper lip, you obviously want to kind of pull down and go over.
You can do when you do it.
No, I do it dry.
Like,
so clean face.
All right. Okay.
Like I do like to prep my skin with like a little bit of hypochlorous acid, which is a dilute bleach, which is again everywhere, Tower 28, any brand, just to make sure you're clean. But no, you can just do it dry and then I follow it if I'm doing it with that mask or good hydrating products. But you can do them at home. It's not that scary.
Acid. I feel like I put that on everything. Like my son comes home and I'm like, sure. And like,
Yeah.
I'm in the car, I spray it. Like something happens, like spray it on it. I'm like, this is like magic. Like I feel like it's used for everything.
Dilute bleach. It's amazing. It works for so many things to prevent infection.
Well, and I'm definitely going to check out that mask too. I haven't tried that yet.
It's good.
Okay. I want to make sure we hit on, okay. So hidden habits that
Yes.
impact aging. So I know you are a big advocate of like longevity and making sure that things work that you're recommending. So when people come into your office, are there things like my OB would tell me, like sunscreen, seatbelt, and I think at the time, like birth control. But like, are there things that are on your list that you're like, every patient from me is hearing the spiel about things that they can do outside of skincare that benefits aging?
Yeah, I mean, people come in all the time like, I hate my dark circles. Like, that's it under my eyes. That's a huge thing. So that leads straight into the conversation. Sleep. So important. That's when we like regenerate everything, right? So prioritizing sleep, nutrition, clearly so important. Inflammatory foods can create issues for our skin. We're finally going to start having data about like certain food groups maybe making our acne worse or skin conditions worse, just inflaming our skin. Alcohol, it's not good for you. People that drink alcohol, they'll wake up the next day and be like, yeah, my skin looks like trash. It's not great for you. Clearly, sun exposure, that's going to be our biggest one. The free radical piece, I think that people really diminish. Just living in the US or in the world now, we're inhaling, we're breathing skincare products that prevent some of those free radicals. And then I know I already talked about water, but actually water generally is really good. I think hydration levels for under eyes are really important. Managing allergies. Allergies are huge. As you can tell, I'm congested. When we're not managing our allergies, our under eyes don't look great. Our skin doesn't look as great. So kind of managing some of your underlying health conditions, it's going to show in our skin.
Do you ever talk to people about like air filters? The reason I ask is because
Good question.
like I I think during pregnancy and even postpartum, like my anxiety was through the roof with my son and his health. And so like we had ear doctors like in every room of our house, and we still do. And he's like never sick for a lot of other reasons. But when
Yeah.
allergy season came around, my husband is usually very, very affected by it. And he was less affected once we got those ear doctors. And I have like, 5 years of research without them and 5 years of research with now. And I thought about that, like from a air quality standpoint for your skin, and you're sleeping in a room, for hours. I was like, oh, I don't know if this is ever something that we
Yeah,
talked about.
I don't think it's ever been studied, but I mean, I just see we got tons of air filters during COVID when everyone was
Yes.
freaking out about everything. And when you change those
They're
the
disgusting.
standalone portable ones, you're like, gross. Like, yeah, no joke, I don't feel good. No joke, my allergies are better. So yeah, I think there is definitely some science to it. I'm not spending time telling people, like, out of all the conversations we're having, go get air filters. But if you're really like, if you start thinking about it, especially with other things, allergies alone makes yeah, they make a huge difference.
Yeah.
On another note, beyond aesthetics, and I guess it is aesthetic related too, but can you talk a little bit about the importance of skin cancer screenings?
Yeah, super important. I was actually just kind of thinking back on my last week, and I had a new patient refer. I have several great referral sources from different med spas in town, just knowing that I will take care of their people really well without stealing them for Botox and other things. And I just had a new patient. She came in for her first routine skin cancer screening, not very old, and we found a melanoma on her back. Like, what if she didn't go get her Botox and her Botox provider said, like, hey, you should go get a skin, like, just go get a skin check. It's, about to be Skin Cancer Awareness Month. I mean, we truly saved her life from that. So, yes, I love Botox. I love skincare. Everyone thinks that I literally do that all day long. Honestly, this piece is probably 20% of what I do, and 80% is skin cancer screenings, rashes, acne, all the true medical dermatology stuff. But if you have not had a skin check, it is super vitally important. They are so easy. They literally take 5 minutes. I mean, unless you need something done, we look you over from head to toe, start in your scalp, work our way all the way down, and we're just looking for things. We might take photos. We have great systems now where we take photos of moles. We track them over time. Depending on what your skin cancer history looks like, your family history, the amount of moles you have, your cadence may be you need to come in twice a year, or you have a history of melanoma. You need to come every 3 months, or hey, you look great. You play tennis. You're wearing your sunscreen, but let's do it once a year. But yes, if I can impart anything, everyone, please go get your skin checked. You will be surprised at how many things we find on people that had no idea they existed.
That's so important.
I love that. Okay, you want to move to rapid fire?
Yeah, we'll move to rapid fire before we close out.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
So this is like our favorite rapid fire round. Your kind of first thing that comes to mind, a few questions that are in your niche. So, your personal favorite treatment or product right now.
Gosh. Okay, product. Everyone will laugh. There's a new product from Skin Better. It's called Ambra, and it's hyaluronic acid, which I like literally inserted foot in mouth when they launched this product, because I was like, I have preached for years, you don't need a standalone hyaluronic acid. It's in our moisturizer. I do not want to try it, and they begged me to try it. It is unbelievable. It gives you bouncy, hydrated skin, fills in my fine lines to some extent. Beautiful product. I would say right now, at this very moment, it is Skin Better Ampra.
Is that a daytime thing, like morning,
Twice a day
twice a day?
She's
Okay.
like,
or
it's an
once
all
a
the time
day.
thing. Yeah.
It's all the time and everywhere. I'm actually only using it at night in order of preserving the bottle. But it's not cheap, but it is a beautiful product for hydration.
Most overrated or underrated skincare trend or product?
We have not talked about exosomes, which is a whole nother land of like the wild, wild west. So actually underrated and overrated. Their exosomes are like the new regenerative skincare, like buzzy word, and every company is trying to capitalize on this. Exosomes very quickly are little vesicles that deliver messages to our skin cells. Every company is creating an exosome product because that's where the money is. There are plant-based exosomes that do not act like human-based exosomes. We are worried about sourcing. So there are products. There's a product line that I love called Plated. It is the kind of the original pioneer in exosome therapy. They are doing the work the right way. They're out of the Mayo Clinic. I actually got to spend 48 hours with the creator of this product, who is a cardiac transplant surgeon that is using it internally for applications and just somehow figured out that it's going to do great in the land of skincare. So I think my piece is exosomes are the wave of the future, but they are highly controversial because there's not a ton of data on them. So finding a resource for these products and not just literally clicking the first exosome you see. Some of these are coming from human sources we don't know. So be wary of exosomes, but also there's some really great ones. Plated is my favorite. I think it has pushed the needle for so many people.
Awesome.
What about best budget-friendly skincare product we need in our makeup bag? Ooh, I have one that you told me about, but go ahead.
Okay, I'm wondering if it's the same one. I actually write this down I wrote it down like 3 times today. There's this retinol stick by Rock, like the OG retinol company, and it looks like a deodorant stick. And you just buy it at Target or Amazon. It's $29. It is amazing. It goes on. So I do it like under my neck, in my jawline for toning, down my necklines for all the fine lines, tech neck everybody hates, tops of the hands, inside my arms for crepiness. I do use a different retinol product on my face, but it is a great, like everyone should have it. You will not skip it because it's so easy to apply and really will kind of tighten and firm all those places that you don't like.
Okay, that
Ooh,
is
I'm gonna
on
get
my
that.
save for later Amazon cart. My
Yes.
husband and I are like apparently going through our Amazon budget. So I'm like, oh, so I'm like clicking all save for later. I'm like, they
Yeah.
weren't in my cart. They weren't saved for later. It's fine. I wasn't going to buy them. But the other one was Versed. They're
Yes.
like cheap, easy go to. And it's Target. It's Target only.
Target, yeah.
Right?
Target only. This brand Versed. I'm like, where did Versed come from? But they are amazing. So they have this barrier cream that's $19.99. It feels like a very expensive luxury moisturizer. They have a new tinted sunscreen that I love. Their lipstick. I don't know, Versed from Target. I'm very impressed. That's a great brand.
When you were just talking about the Rock, I'll have to try the retinol that you recommended, but I have the vitamin C under eye stick,
That stick.
and
Yeah.
it's really good. I actually really like it.
It's really good. It's hydrating. It's got a little vitamin C. You can use that in the morning time. I like that. Yeah, I love a stick.
Yeah, another add to cart, Amazon.
Not for me
Yes.
right now. But a skincare trick or hack you recommend to your clients?
I think I kind of already talked about this. I would say
At
if I
home.
could the dermaplaning, like the dermaplaning plus moisturizing, if you could save somewhere, and it really does. So that vellus hair, you don't have to dermaplane, but when you take that vellus hair off, your skin looks shinier and glowier. Your products penetrate deeper. There is such a myth that if you shave your face or dermaplane your face, your hair is going to grow back thicker and darker. That is absolutely not true.
Yeah, who are the
we-
girls trying to hold us back from being our best self, telling us that?
Yeah, like let us shave our face if we want to
Yeah.
shave our face. So shave your face. I'm full support of that.
Okay, so I think this is really funny you brought that up because one the other day I was at a conference and her skin was like incredible, and she had dermaplaned it, and I got thinking, like, have I ever seen someone who I love their skin and it not been dermaplaned? No,
Probably
always
not.
dermaplaned.
Well, and I was always scared of it. So I'm Hispanic and I have darker hair. And I was always like, absolutely
gonna come
not.
back
I
dark.
can't do that. It's
Yeah.
going to come back black. But no.
Yeah.
I
No,
dermaplane all
no.
the time. It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Last question: yes or no? Face tape.
I actually had written this down. So face tape to like prevent wrinkles, like the idea of that.
or produce longevity for your Botox.
Yeah. So scientifically, the reason we get wrinkles is because we move our muscles. So when we face tape, we're not really moving and assuming we're just face taping at night. I've never seen anybody walk around the day with it, but at night, we're not really moving our muscles. So again, I don't understand the necessary like science behind it because it's not, I guess if you move your face a lot in the night and the face tape's preventing you from doing that, but it would really only make sense to me if we were wearing it during the day to prevent our muscles from moving.
It wouldn't really take off either.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
you're, like, walking
Yeah,
around,
maybe clearer, but I don't know. A company actually just reached out. They're sending me some face tape that's like peptide infused that you can use around your eyes. Now, I will tell you, when I sleep, I kind of sleep on my side and I do like smash the side of my face. So I'm going to try it because if I can put like a little eye, like it's like almost like KT tape, like under my eye with a little infused like eye cream. Now, I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I don't know about face taping my forehead and everywhere else. Again, I'm not moving in the night, but the idea around the eyes, I could get behind.
That makes sense.
Well, we could chat with you and ask you questions all day, I feel
We
like.
might have to do a part 2 about
Yeah.
lasers and exosomes. Like, I feel like some of the trendy stuff that would be fun, some of the myth busters, because there
Yes.
are so many new concepts in there.
Yeah. And there's so many fun products too to talk about that we didn't even get into that are like actually pushing the needle in the skincare land,
Yeah.
that are doing the science. So I think there's so much more to be said about all this stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to do a part 2 for sure.
I would love that.
I would love
In
to
the
come back.
meantime, where can people find you and how do they book with you?
Awesome. Yes, I am at Mindful Dermatology. We are in Dallas, literally across from North Park Mall. I've been here for 16 years. I work with Dr. Jennifer Cather, who is a pioneer in the derm space. And so I feel so blessed. I've worked with her now kind of since the beginning of my career. So we're mindfuldermatology.com, at Mindful Derm Dallas. New bookers book. We're so old school. You got to call because we got to put everything in. If you're a new patient, it has to be in person, but we do offer virtual, especially for like college kids or people that can't get in. A lot of people like, I'm on vacation, I have a rash, can you help me? So we have a virtual option. I'm also online separately at the Dallas Derm PA, which is how I think Whitney and I originally met, where I talk all about skincare. So you can find me there too.
I love that.
Thank you so much for being with us. And I know this is going to be one that's going to be saved and shared.
Yes. Well, thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you guys for having me.
Excited.